Speaking of change, there are a lot of young people in Malawi who think that maybe it's about time that country underwent some kind of a reform or change, not just at the top level, but a fundamental change of all the institutions, of everything that is happening, that is going wrong in Malawi. You're looking at young people saying that maybe this election, they wanted to vote for a younger person who sort of represents their views, who is going to usher in some kind of employment for these young people.
You see, I think it is good to have a fresh face, a younger person, but that's not a guarantee. A guarantee is having institutions that are working for the citizens of a country and having leaders that who have a real intention and determination to transform their countries. They could be older, they could be way younger, but there's evidence across the continent that there have been some very young people who are terrible presidents.
Well, people argue that Saulas Chalema, Vice President Saulas Chalema, could be exactly what you're just describing.
Well, he
has the aptitude, he has the charisma, he's a young guy, and he's a very, very successful business person.
Yeah, but that's optimism. There's something about politics that transforms people. We've seen so many people who looked like they meant well, who look like they have what it took, including the age, the aptitude, and whatever they were doing at that moment. But once they get into power, that's when you can prove who they really are. Because power does corrupt. It has the propensity to corrupt even the most well-intentioned person. That is why I think the focus has to be having institutions that hold leaders accountable. If you hold leaders accountable, regardless of whether they're 20 years old or 40 years old or 78 years old, if you have institutions that will ensure that they perform and that they deliver, and that if they do not deliver, there will be consequences. Unless you have those institutions, it doesn't really matter how young they are. In Congo, we had a person who came to power at the age 29. But ask the Congolese how excited they have been for so many years. Across the continent, if you go back in history, the first presidents after independence in most countries were in their 20s. Well, what happened to them? They stayed in power for too long. And what happened? They transformed into whatever they became to be, dictators and monsters, some of them. Someone in East Africa today is up in the 70s, I know. But when he came to power, he was a young person, fighting in the bushes in northern Uganda. People looked with hope, whether it was in Kenya, in Sudan, in Ethiopia, and elsewhere. The age is something good to have young people to represent the youth. But I'm telling you, the youth can be extremely disappointed in one of their own if there's no system that holds that person accountable. It doesn't really matter. Human beings have the propensity to be corrupted by power. Political power is really dangerous.